Here comes Daddy Rich in his mean limousine. Hey, people come from everywhere when he's on the scene. Clean can't describe the clothes he wears. He says all you got to do is believe and you'll get your share. Well, hello there, love bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share to Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. Today's looky would be our book club tote. Say what, Nay? We got a tote bag? Yes, indeed we do, because we've been reading with Uptown NayRob. We got two versions. The first version I'm not really happy with because it's slightly off, okay? That one is being sold for $23. The second one I'm really happy with. So that one is being sold for $33. And if you are not already a part of this book club, please hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube. And for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes, you can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Now, child, this book is getting the juicy. Okay, we ain't getting a lot of views, but it's still getting juicy, okay? Let's continue talking about Miss Ruth Pointer's Still So Exciting. Please like the video, guys. It is so important to our success on the YouTube. Like the video. Like the video. The movie featured an all-star cast, including Richard Pryor, Garrett Morris, George Carlin, Bill Duke, and Antonio Vargas. When I found out what Gary was up to, I buttonholed him the first chance I got. Right apart for the Pointer Sisters, I begged them. We'll find a way to make it work. Gary and screenwriter Joel Schumacher obliged, and we were cast as the Wilson sisters, the glamorous entourage of suave and smooth talking ghetto preacher Daddy Rich, brilliantly portrayed by Richard Pryor. It wasn't a big part, but it was great fun. We'd step out of a white stretch limousine with Daddy Rich to preach the money-grubbing gospel according to the Church of Divine Economic Spirituality, i.e. Scientology. But you ain't heard that from me. Let me say something. When he said that in the movie, I thought he was joking. I didn't think that was the name of the church for real. Here comes Daddy Rich in his mean limousine. For a small fee, I will set you free. Nearer, my God, to thee. Before the cameras rolled, Richard did a run-through with us to make sure his impromptu spiel passed muster with church folk, or at least their offspring. When he intoned, "I shall not be moved," one of us jumped up and testified, "Like a tree planted by the water." Richard was thrilled. "Can I say that?" he asked. "Can I use that in my sermon?" "Oh, hell yeah." Richard didn't really need our help. He was so spell-blinding as a golden-tongued preacher that the best pulpit pounders I ever heard would have sold their own souls to the devil for just an ounce of Richard's natural born charisma. One time, the Pointer Sisters opened for Richard in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. We loved his humor so much that we rushed through our set and quickly changed our wardrobe to get into our regular clothes to sit in the audience and watch his show. Richard spotted us in one of the first few rows and gave us major props. "How about these fabulous Pointer Sisters?" he'd say to the roaring applause. "These girls can sing, can't they? But they just don't want to give me no pussy. Along with the entire audience, we howled until our ribs hurt. Richard was crazy as a road lizard. As good a time as we had on screen, you can bet your last dollar it was even better off camera. Director Michael Schultz ran a loose and free-spirited set, and we often passed around my antique flags filled with Remy Martin as we sat in the limo between takes. Richard would stand up and poke his head out of the sunroof and tell us, "Now hold my legs, 'cause I might fall down when they make the curb." Lord, those were some good times. I remember my sister singing the theme to the Mighty Mouse cartoon, "Here I come to save the day." I remember my sister singing the theme to the Mighty Mouse cartoon, "Here I come to save the day." And Richard was freaked out that we knew the words. That was it. We were forever bonded. In the picture, we sang "You Gotta Believe," a Norman Whitfield pen tune. The song was another top 20 R&B hit for us and was included on the movie soundtrack and on the Best of the Pointer Sisters, a double LP that coincided with the film's release. We'd really had our hearts set on recording the movie's theme, Car Wash, but Whitfield gave it to the group Royce, which he happened to manage and was grooming for stardom. It shot straight to #1 that fall, and the soundtrack double album went platinum. At least I had the satisfaction of overhearing Whitfield harassing lead singer Gwen Dickey during a rehearsal. "Why can't you sing like the Pointer Sisters? Come on, put some guts into the song." Okay, pause. Now, I ain't never doubted Miss Ruth about Nathan that she had said in this book. But you's a damn liar to me, Miss Ruth. I love you, Miss Ruth. I know you still kicking it and holding it down for the Pointer Sisters. But there is no way that lady from the original lady from Royce couldn't put guts and gumption behind Car Wash. There's no way. Now, I believe the Pointer Sisters would have did a good job. But for Norman Whitfield to say, "Why can't you be like the Pointer Sisters?" No, I don't believe that. Because that goddamn Gwen, ooh, I think she over there somewhere over in London. She done did like what the Tina Turner did and changed her accent too. Okay? But there's no way. Time on my hands. What? Since you've been away, boy. What? I ain't got no plans. No. What? Miss Ruth, I'm sorry. You might need more people. We don't believe you. At least I don't. When? Not being soulful like the Pointer Sisters? Come on. That, like I said, Pointer Sisters would have did a great job doing Car Wash, but Gwen was astounding. Okay? Gwen is still an astounding singer. I hate the fact that once Gwen left Royce, she didn't have any commercial success, and neither did Royce. So the boys that were left. Oh man, ooh, wait a minute. Y'all put below, tell me your favorite Car Wash song. I think mine is called The Crying Song. Amazing. Goddamn amazing. I can't even, you won't get my shit copyrighted. But I'm telling you, that song is amazing. Like, you can feel the emotion in that instrument. After Car Wash, the Pointer Sisters made several appearances on the popular PBS children's television show Sesame Street. Now, thanks to you all, you guys were the ones that told me that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, do. Y'all told me that was the Pointer Sisters. I never knew that, y'all. And see, that's what I love about life. You can learn something new every day. I learn something new every day, and it doesn't matter if they're younger, older, more established, homeless, mentally challenged, physically challenged. You can learn something new every day from anybody. We returned to the studio in late 1976 to record our final Blue Thumb album, Having a Party. Noticeably missing from the album were June, who contributed to only the title track and the nostalgic sound that had defined our earlier work. The Pointer Sisters were playing the Bottom Line in New York. It was the middle of soundcheck, and my sisters had gone on to the dressing room. The band was jamming, and I stayed behind to listen as the music got to me. I was spirit-stricken. I started scribbling lyrics about my increasingly frustrating relationship with Dennis. More and more, he'd tell me he'd see me later, but then wouldn't show up. It seemed I was always waiting for the man. He's the kind of guy that would say, hey baby, let's get away, let's go someplace, where I don't care. He's the kind of guy that would give you everything and trust your heart, share all of your love, till death do us part. Damn, that Dennis. I can see that Dick Print Edwards. You got bitches writing songs for you, brother. Okay, I wasn't mature in that part right there, my bad. Having a Party represented a series of lasts for the Pointer Sisters. It was the last album to feature Bonnie, the last album produced for us by David Rubinson, and our last album for Blue Thumb. The label delayed its release for several months, and when it finally came out in November 1977, it landed with a big fat thud. Blue Thumb had been purchased by ABC Dunhill in late 94, and 3 years later, it was practically a ghost operation. So Having a Party sank without a trace. Any loyalty we felt towards David went overboard with it. I suppose we looked like ungrateful bitches for dumping the guy who steered us to the top. But in fact, we were and still are very grateful to David for investing in us and even mortgaging his home to get things off the ground. Clearly, there would be no Pointer Sisters without David's investment, input, and guidance. But you know what? He made his $100,000 investment back many times over and continued to derive royalties from us for a couple of decades. David managed several other groups and was in a hell of a lot better condition financially than we were. He was going to be just fine. I know that's right. I don't give a fuck about you and your feelings. Your pocket's still right, ain't they? Okay. Going from 4 to 3 Pointer Sisters had been manageable, but Anita and I weren't exactly the Doublemint twins. We played a New Year's show in San Francisco, just the two of us, and we were just okay in spite of the great turnout that prompted one critic to observe. It was so crowded you could only see 2 Pointer Sisters. Okay, good job. So that means that they didn't notice that it wasn't another 2. Over the course of several months, we met with various managers, producers, and songwriters, and even got desperate enough to consider hiring 2 singers and palming them off as members of the family. I did this carrying my 3-month-old offspring with Dennis, Issa, in the backpack-style baby carrier. 5 years after our big breakout, the Pointer Sisters were on the ropes. Is there anybody who doesn't love a great comeback story? I sure do. When Dennis found out I was with child, he abandoned me in that big 6-bedroom house and moved in with another woman, leaving me high and dry. Our daughter, Issa Kern Edwards, was born on January 22nd, 1978. Happy New Year. Okay, pause. Remember, I think Dennis was dating Aretha's big sister first. And Aretha was like, you don't know what to do with that. I'm going to take that up off your hands for you. Facts. That's exactly what we read in the Respect book by Thank You to Jesus
for David Rich.
When you're in show business, about the worst thing you can do in a situation like mine is let people know how bad off you are. I have always been a hard worker and wasn't too proud to beat the bushes for any gig available, no matter how small or anonymous. What I remember from reading Anita's book, this is something that I will always hold in high regard, especially for Miss Ruth Pointer, because not many women have that type of voice that she has, okay? Now, it's a lot of men that have it, but it's not a lot of women who sound great. And some of y'all was like, okay, T-Boz can do T-Boz girl. She can't be equated with Ruth Pointer. I'm sorry. Her voice can't be. It's things that Ruth Pointer can do with her voice that T-Boz just can't do, simply. I love you, T-Boz. I love you, but just simply you just can't do what Ruth does. They, from the beginning, had always did background vocals, and they continue to do background vocals for people. Even at the height of the Pointer Sisters' fame, we had done session work for Alice Cooper, Muscle of Love, Bobby Lamb, Skinny Boy, and Bill Wyman, Stone Alone. Now I got us on Rick James' Little Runaway, literally by posting a gun for hire notice on a bulletin board at the record plant in Sausalito. I was that desperate. Issa was almost a year old and Christmas was just around the corner. My mother needed money very badly to continue raising our kids. Rick saved our hides, paying Anita and me $2 large apiece. Speaking of hides, Rick definitely wanted mine. At the time we recorded the song, he had too much respect for Dennis to make a big play for me. But years later, when Dennis was out of the picture and Rick was in a super freak mode, he made several aggressive passes at me. When you're on the top, I wonder if this was before or after Rick James produced the Temptations. Rick was an absolute genius in the studio, and I loved being around him, but I didn't think of him in that way. Bullshit, the baker. You ain't read Glow, boy. Rick James constantly talked about how good his head was. Ooh. His contalingus. Or fellatio, whatever it was. I don't know. He talked immensely about how spectacular he was. In the summer of '78, our new manager, Forrest Hamilton, set up a meeting with producer Richard Pryor. Richard was one of those guys with the Midas touch, and in the 1970s, everything he touched turned to gold. Richard could see right off that Anita and I were hungry, eager to please, and ready to get back to work. He didn't mess around with artists who didn't match his ambition, and he knew we were determined to get back to the top. What was so encouraging was that Richard had a definite vision for us and wanted the group to have a new style and sound. A commercial mixture of pop, rock, and R&B. When Richard said he would make us the flagship artist of his new label, it was music to our ears. But he had two conditions for us to meet before our partnership was sealed. The first one was that we ditch Forrest Hamilton as our manager and replace him with Jerry Weintraub, the mega powerful concert and film producer. Yikes. It was clearly a smart move, but Forrest was the one responsible for getting us in to meet Richard in the first place. Meeting Richard's second condition wouldn't be that easy. He wanted a third Pointer sister.